Hello again and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And today I'm going to talk about, for the third time, I'm going to dig into more Ozzy. His last name is Osbourne. Some call him just Ozzy, but you can feel free to call him Ozzy Osbourne. His name is John Osbourne. And this is the third one I've done. I did, some time ago, I think it was when I was still calling this show I Love This Album. And I think I talked about Diary of a Madman, one of my favorite records ever. It's a top 10 record for sure. God, I love that record. And more recently, maybe a month or 6 weeks ago, I talked about Patient Number 9, which is pretty bad. It's the exact opposite of Diary of a Madman. I didn't like that album at all. This one, The Ultimate Sin. What do I think about this one? Make your predictions now, because I'm about to tell you. I don't know what to think about this album. I've gone back and forth with it over the years. It's kind of a mystery, and I'll talk about that, let's say right now. So this came out in 1986. In 1986, I was 16 years old. I had seen Bark at the Moon tour 2 years prior in 1984. That was my first concert ever. Ozzy on the Bark at the Moon tour with Rat opening, and I was really in full Ozzy mode. And I did see this Ultimate Sin tour, as mentioned. There it is. This was September 26th, 1986. That was a Friday. As you can see, Queensryche opened. This was the day that Cliff Burton died, or the night that Cliff Burton died. Now you may say, no, he died on September 27th, which is true, but that was in Sweden. He died in Sweden, but because of the time difference, for me, he died on Friday night. So I always remember this concert I associated with Cliff Burton dying. So this, Ozzy at this point was in, it's strange to say, but in kind of glam mode. And you shouldn't judge the music by how the band or the artist or the musicians look, but you kind of do. And Ozzy had a weird look at this time, and his band, which was, of course, Jakey Lee was the only leftover from Bark the Moon era, or the Bark the Moon album and tour. This one, they had Phil Soussan and Randy Castillo on drums. And they didn't look like, Cinderella or Poison or, it was nothing like that, but they were a little bit more glammy, because that was what was cool at the time. And at the time, I guess I didn't care about that. And to some extent, I still don't care about that. But that did, I guess, have some effect. It maybe kind of creeped into the music a little bit. So at the time, I loved this record. I thought this was great. I liked it. And I guess I liked it definitely better than Bark at the Moon. But I don't know, over the years, I kind of forgot about that. I would listen to it years ago. I thought, that album is not as good as I remember. And then years went by again. I thought, I should listen to The Ultimate Sin. That's a really good record. And I listened to it, I thought, yeah, that is a good record. And recently, I've listened to it again today. And I listened to it maybe a few weeks or a month ago. And I thought, I'm really not sure what to think about this album. And I did want to buy it. And I've got it here. I bought this at El Chopo. For me, it was last week I was there. I mentioned that I bought 4 records there, and this was one of them. The other ones are going to be a surprise. And one of them was the Kiss single. I talked about that. There was a really cool Mexican clear green vinyl, a 12-inch single of, it was I Was Made for Loving You and Charisma. That was one. This was the other one. The other two are mysteries to be featured in future episodes. Notice how I matched the orange theme with what I'm wearing here. Huh? You like that? And this is, and I got this for a decent price too. This, I guess, is pretty much unavailable on vinyl new. And because of, I guess, some shenanigans or something with Sharon Osbourne, and I'm not sure. But I saw this, I'll tell you, the 4 records I saw, one of them, this was I think $350. One of them was $400. I think another one was $350, and one of them was $250. And which was going to be it was going to be $1,400 total. And I asked the guy, would you take $1,000 for all 4? And he checked with his buddy, and they said yes. So I got let's say this was 250 pesos. And it looks like it's in decent shape. It's got the ring around it. It's got the Hecho in Mexico. This is not a sticker. This is part of the cover. And over here, it's got the Epic Estéreo. And it does, I love this. It's got the song titles there, then it's got them in Spanish there. And I'll read them in Spanish. It's El Máximo Pecado, I guess it is. El Perdedor Secreto, Secret Loser. The first one is The Ultimate Sin. Nunca Sé Por Qué, which I guess is Never Know Why. Gracias a Dios por la bomba. Thank God for the bomb. Nunca is just never. Gallo un rayo, lightning strikes. El asesino de gigantes, killer of giants. Tonto como tú, that's funny. That's a fool like you. And un disparo en la obscuridad, a shot in the dark. Yeah, and it's got the. It looks like it's in pretty good shape. It's got the inner sleeve with the lyrics. And a picture of the kind of glammy looking Ozzy. I guess especially Phil Soussan. He was kind of frilly. Saigon Kick kind of copied this look, I think, on the Water album. And there it is there on Epic Records. All right. So yeah, it's this album overall, my overall opinion of it, and I listened to it today. There's really not one song that I love. Like, I like them all. They're good songs. I know it quite well. I know pretty much all the lyrics. But there's not one song that I go, oh, this is like a classic Ozzy song. I love this Ozzy song. But there's also not one song that I go, this song sucks. Like pretty much every song on Patient Number 9, his most recent record. So so I'm kind of in the middle about this album. Kind of a goofy cover. It's got this hot chick, and then it's got Ozzy's face as a, what is he? Some kind of what is this, a gargoyle or something? I don't know, but there it is, The Ultimate Sin. And it's a weird sounding album too. Everybody talks about another Orange cover, Saint Anger, having the worst drum sound ever. I don't know. I think the drum sound of this album is pretty bad too. And also Slayer, Show No Mercy, the drum sound is not very good. This one, I think the drums and the bass, especially there's a couple of songs where they just sound kind of thumpy and plotty, and if Saint Anger is trash cans, which some people say, this one's like Randy Castillo was beating on cardboard boxes. Yeah. So all right, going through this track by track now. El Máximo Pecado, that's The Ultimate Sin. That's one of the ones where the drums and the bass just sound boom, 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 boom. They just sound really plodding and just like a thumping sound. Don't really like it. Good song though. And also on this album, really Ozzy, there's nothing really that stands out about Ozzy's vocals on this record. Again, he doesn't sound bad, but it's just he doesn't have that Ozzy attitude. Now this was produced by, and some people make a big deal out of this was produced by Ron Nevison, who produced Kiss's Crazy Nights, which sucks. That album is fucking terrible. And he produced a Heart record, and I guess he had a reputation of, making bands kind of soft. I don't know if that's true or not, but his name's on here, so people associate with that. So yeah, The Ultimate Sin, El Máximo Pecado. That's a good song. I like that song. Jakey Lee rules on this album, I should say. I saw Jakey Lee 3 times on the Bark of the Moon tour, Ultimate Sin tour, El Máximo Pecado, and on the Badlands first tour. I love Jakey Lee, one of my favorite guitarists ever. And it's The Ultimate Sin. And then there's, I don't know if it's like a double bass at the end, and it just sounds strange to me. But yeah, pretty good song. Next is El Perdedor Secreto, which is Secret Loser. I'm a secret loser. And it's a little bit kind of, it's kind of a melodic song. I like Secret Loser, good song. Nunca Sé Por Qué, which is Never Know Why. You'll Never Know Why, We Rock. And there are 2 songs on this record, Never Know Why and Lightning Strikes. You'll Never Know Why, We Rock. And Lightning Strikes, the chorus is rockin' all night, we rockin' all night. And I wondered if they because I remember at the time when I was 16, I thought, why didn't they call this song, instead of Never, You'll Never Know Why, We Rock. And, Dio on The Last in Line had a song called We Rock. I don't know if Ozzy at this time or his management, I don't know if they were avoiding songs with the title Rock in it, or avoiding putting the word rock in song titles. But if we're offensive and pose a threat, you think what we represent is a mess. You'll never know, we rock, rock, rock. A little bit cheesy, but it's okay. Next is Gracias a Dios por la bomba. Thank God for the bomb, but make a threat of their annihilation. And this song, I guess, lyrically, and I don't know who wrote the lyrics for these songs. You know, Ozzy. There's a lot of mystery and things going on about who wrote what, thanks to again his management. I guess the idea behind these lyrics is that if not for the power of the atomic bomb or the nuclear bomb is preventing us from annihilation or something like that. Thank God for the bomb. Nukia, nukia, da 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 da. Good riff in that song. Again, it's okay, but it doesn't really stand out to me. And the last song on side one is Nunca, which is just never. Which one is that? Forever and ever now. There's never, no why, and then never. Which one is never? I can't remember, but God, that I should. And I just listened to this record today. Which one is never? Give me a clue here. By the time you watch this, I will have checked, or maybe I will have forgotten. Forever and ever now, ever and ever now. I think that's the one. It's okay. And then side two is Gallo un rayo, lightning strikes, the one I just talked about. We won't stop rocking all night. We rocking all night until the lightning strikes again. And there's some keyboards in there. This was the sound at the time. Everybody was starting to use keyboards. And Ozzy was no exception to that. Part of that kind of softer sound. That song's okay. Next is El Asesino de Gigantes. This is my favorite song on this record. And it's the one, it is a little bit different. It's got the cool kind of and actually this record was supposed to be called Killer of Giants originally. I remember it very well when they were talking about in heavy metal media or the rock metal radio shows that were on, they said, oh, Ozzy's got new albums called Killer of Giants. And then I guess relatively late it was retitled to The Ultimate Sin. But Killer of Giants is an excellent song. For sure my favorite song on this album. It's got a kind of a quiet, it's not a ballad at all, but it is kind of quiet and I like it. Killer of Giants threatens us all. Mountains of Madness. Whatever. Yeah, good song, Killer of Giants. A couple more that I have to get through. Tonto Como Tu, which is Fool Like You. It had that kind of weird sounding guitar. I don't know, it's not a riff. That song is maybe not so good. It's okay, but I don't hate it. But I guess there has to be a least favorite, and probably Fool Like You is one. And then the last song is Un Disparo en la Obscuridad, a shot in the dark. I like this song. This is the first single from this record, and I liked it. There was the video for it. There was they found a woman to portray something like this woman on the album cover, and it had the cheesy 80s effects. This was Ozzy in his, as I said, his glam mode. That video was on a lot. That video was really in I guess strong rotation is what they say in the industry. But I like that song, Shot in the Dark. I would even say it's one of the better songs on this record. I like the guitar in the intro, the good song, Shot in the Dark. And there's Ozzy's his evil demonic face, a little bit bigger there. So there it is, The Ultimate Sin. Yeah. So again, I'm not sure about this record. I do have, at this point, 2 more Ozzy records to come at some point, whenever I get around to it. Yeah, so, I don't know. What do you think about Ultimate Sin? Was it too glammy? Was it too soft for Ozzy? It was definitely a change from the Madman is back, something like that. Bark at the Moon kind of started that, and I think this Ultimate Sin continued. I don't know, but yeah, kind of a mixed album for me. I think I definitely lean more towards liking it than disliking it, but it's a little bit of a strange album for me. There it is, and this is Ozzy, The Ultimate Sin.